Good morning, I hope you're well. So WordPress has a brand new homepage. Here it is up on your screen. It's been built using the block editor and it looks fantastic, and it's had some really good reaction and feedback and people generally love it. However, there has been some controversy because Matt Mullenweg, the founder of WordPress, criticized the time it's taken to go from design into actually building it into Gutenberg. Here's the specific quote that has been pulled out by a few publications. On the hours, not weeks to implement, he says. It's such a basic layout, it's hard to imagine it taking a single person more than a day on Squarespace, Wix, Webflow, or one of the WP page builders. So obviously that has stirred things up. So I thought it would be a fun little video to take this homepage and see how quickly I could create it just using the block editor. Right, let's start the clock. So first we're going to start by turning on a really cool little utility called Detective Wapoo, which is a Chrome extension which will start to show us some of the blocks that are actually used within the site. Now it doesn't show everything, but it'll give us an idea of what blocks have been used. You can see I've just clicked at this little icon up here, and now it's telling me what blocks we're actually viewing at. So you can actually use this on any site. It's really, really super useful. Here we go. And now I'm going to see what we've got here. So essentially we've just got a big heading. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And then underneath that, we've got this paragraph block. Again, I'm just copying and pasting this, and it works pretty well, copy and paste. So under there, and then finally under here, we've just got this Get WordPress button. I'm going to turn off Detective Wapoo now so we can see it in its purest form. That is just a blue button that says Get WordPress on it. So I'm going to hit return, then / and then buttons, like so, and that will add the block. The only thing I need here, I want to get that color. So I'm going to use again a Chrome extension here called Colorzilla, which lets me pick any color from any website, and that will copy it to my clipboard. And now I can jump into the button itself, go to background, and I can actually just pop that color in there, and you'll see it gets the right color. And all I need to do now is Get WordPress in there. Okay, next up is this section here, which is using a cover block, and you'll see it's got this nice background image that if I resize it, we see the full background image. I kind of want that background image, but I can't just save it because it's the cover block and I can't just nab it from the site. So I'm actually going to just screenshot it like this and recreate it quickly to get an approximation of it, because I do like the texture on it. And just add a gradient fill. So I'm going to pick this color for that bit, and that's not perfect. Not bad at all. So I'm okay with that. It's not absolutely ideal, but I'm fine with that. So I'm going to save that out as an image now. So now I've got the background image sorted. Let's go back and add that to my page. Turn and hit cover and go to media library, and I'm going to upload that one I've just saved. And there we go. There's my image. Now a few other things I need to do here. I need to take the opacity off it because the cover block naturally puts some opacity in it. And the other thing I want to do is click on it, and I just want to set that to be full width of my site. So we're kind of getting there. Then we need this bit of text here. Now I think they've used columns. I'm not sure how they've done the layout of this text, and it has to be a heading. And let's change the size of it as well. Let's go to a super large size, and let's flick back here, and you see there's a sort of right aligned, and the text breaks after that. So I'm going to do a soft return, hold down shift, hit return, and now we've got that in approximately the right sort of place. The font's not quite the same, but that's coming from the theme, so I'm not massively worried about the font. And then under this, we could just add the paragraph, but can you see how if we just add the paragraph, it's not constrained at all, which is why I think they probably added a columns block underneath. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to add the columns block, and I'm going to add 3 columns, and in the middle column I'm going to put my text, and that should just set that text in the right sort of position. I'm not particularly happy with how I've done that, but it seems to get the job done. And then I'm just going to put my link text in here, and I'm going to style it blue by going link and then blue, which will give it roughly the right sort of color. So we're getting approximately there. The only other thing I want to do on this one, I think, is I want to add some padding and some margins. So if I select the cover block, you'll see over here I've got padding. I'm going to add 50 pixels of padding, which just lets it breathe a bit more. And the other thing I could do, if I grouped it, now this is where we're going to use the group block a lot over the next 20 minutes, I imagine, is group blocks actually let you add margin to the top and the bottom, which I want to do. You click on these 3 dots here, go to margin, and now you'll see I can add a top and bottom margin. And again, that's nice, a nicer way than doing it really than adding the spacer block. So let's publish that and just have a quick look at see how we're going. And I think that looks pretty good actually. I'm quite happy with that. It's not exactly the same, but it's not a bad start. Okay, so let's move on. So now we've got this section down here. This essentially, I think, is 2 columns with some text in it, which should be super quick to do. It does have a background color to it. So I'm going to save this image. I'm going to flick back to my page here, go edit page, and then down here I'm going to add the columns block, and I'm going to add 2 columns. I think it's 2 equal columns I want. Yep, it is. So I'm going to choose that option there. Now I am also going to group this one because the group block also lets me set the width of each of these if I want to. So I'm going to be creating a lot of group blocks. And again, because it's a group block, you can do things like make it wide width and full width, all sorts of cool stuff like that, which might not be right, but we'll see. So this is the heading. So I'm going to click on the plus, search for heading block, put in the heading there, and that's close enough for me. And then underneath this, I'm just going to go /image. You see how I'm using the / all the time just for speed, really. It's just a quick way of adding blocks. It'll save you a chunk of time, and I'm going to find that image that I just saved. Now, I'm not optimizing these images today. I would definitely optimize them if I was doing this for real. And let's go back here. Then over on the right here, I think I should just be able to copy and paste all this text into this block over here. So that, I think, is looking all right. I'm going to update it and check as I go along on all of these, because it won't always be exactly the same. You see how that's too wide really for what I want here. So this is where we get into using the group block to start to override the theme's default page settings. So I'm just going to go down here, click on group, and you can see over here you can actually set the content width. So I'm going to set this as 1000. I'm going to stick to that for all these group blocks that I'm creating, and that just lets me have more control over the width of these blocks, and I'm pretty happy with that. The other thing that I might do actually quickly with the group block, because it's a group block, I can set some padding and some margin as well. So let me set the margin. I'm going to stick to the margin for top and bottom to be 50 pixels for all of these. And again, doing it this way is nicer really than adding the spacer block. It will give you more control over it. There we go. So it just gives it a bit more space to breathe. So that's looking pretty good. Let's go on down here. Now this one's quite interesting because this is a section here, and we've got this, which I think is probably using the row block. So the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to add a group block and add a background color to the group block, and then a row block within it, and then this is also an image down here. So let's crack on. I'm going to start by adding the group block. So /group, that's really like a container block, and then within that I'm just going to add the heading block and write my heading. Then I'm going to grab the other bit of text under here, just copy that and paste that underneath. Now because that's a group block, we can start to change the color of it. So in the list view, I'm going to select the group block, go over here to the block settings panel and just change the background color. Then I'm going to select the text using the list view, because once you set the same color you can't really see it. And I'm going to set the text to white, and I'm going to set the paragraph over here on list view as well to white. Now because it's a group block, and one of the main reasons I added it as a group block is you can make the group block full width. So just make sure you select the group block, select full width, and that's now the full width. The other thing I can do, because it's a group block, I can add some padding to it. So I'm going to add 50 pixels of padding, and I'm also going to change the margin by clicking on those 3 dots, select margin here, and I can add a top and bottom margin of 50 pixels, or I think I want 100 pixels. We can change that later. Okay, so that kind of sets my container. Then underneath here we have these images. Now these are all images, so you can just save these. Okay, and now I'm going to utilize the row block. So again, /, and then I'm going to go /row, and I'm just going to add the row block. That sets the row, and now I can simply just add my images in by clicking the plus sign and add my images. I've already got those uploaded, so I think we want to go Spotify. I'm going to do this approximately and quite quickly. So and then Disney is the last one. Let's add the image again. Now the other thing we can do, because this is a row block, we can select the row, and over here you can see you can change the block spacing. That'll just space out your blocks for you, and you can just play around with these values to get what you want. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. We probably want a bit of padding through the row block as well, and we can do that because there is a padding option as well. It says add 30 pixels of padding. Looks like there's a spelling mistake with neighbors, unless that's the American way to spell it. And then underneath here we just have a button, so we're just going to add the button block underneath here. So we're going to /buttons and add the button block, and this just says find inspiration, spelt correctly. And we just need to change the background color of that buttons block, like so. So that's looking pretty good. Let's update that and check to see whether that's looking all right. Again, can you see the width is wrong because it's just basically taking the width from the theme. So we want to override the default setting to 1000 pixels. Then we know that we're basically working on the same pixel width. That's looking pretty good. I like that a lot. That's looking great. So let's go actual size. So let's compare. So this is the WordPress site. Here we go. Get down to where we've got to. And then this is my site. Pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Right, we've got a few other interesting things. So this is an image as well, actually. This whole section here is just one image called Showcase. So we can actually just dump that into this page. Let's go buttons, insert after. That sets the paragraph. And now within this, we can actually just add the image block. So go to Media Library, upload files, and let's just add that image. Now, again, I'm not optimizing these, which I would do normally. Let's just pop that in. And we want to go select the group block itself. So hopefully that should now bleed to the edge of the page. There we go. So now that's looking pretty much spot on, I think. There's the WordPress site. There's my site. I think that's looking okay. Yep, I'm happy with that. It's very, very similar now. This is my site, just to reiterate. This is the WordPress site. They look pretty much identical, I think. Let's have another look. That's the WordPress site. That's my site. Not bad at all. This section here is quite interesting. This is, again, this blue section, we're going to use the group block so we can style it and make it full width. We can also make this butt up here because you can have a naught margin on it. Grab this text because we need to add some text to be able to style the group block. And we're just going to add the group block underneath this. We're going to add a heading block within it to start with, just as our starting point. Then I'm going to click on the list view and click on group. Let's delete that paragraph. Click on group. And I'm just going to style it. Let's grab this color, pick the color using ColorZilla from the page, and we're just going to set that as a background color to the whole group. Then we're going to do our normal stuff. We're going to make it full width, but we're going to make the content 1000 pixels wide. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add some padding, 50 pixels for now, which might not be enough. It's definitely not enough. Let's try 100 pixels. That's probably nearer to what we want. Then we're going to style the text as white. Okay, now the other thing we need to do here, actually, we need to set a top margin of 0. Just close GarageBand down. A top margin of 0, which is that one there. And that should allow us to butt it up. And also we're going to set a bottom margin on this group, just to be sure of 0 as well, which is that one there, I think. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So now we've got this nicely looking like it should be working. In fact, let's just check that before we go any further. Let's go and have a look, make sure we've got no gap at all. So that's perfect, really. Then we've got some text underneath here. In fact, what I haven't done is put this into columns. So let's do that quickly now. Let's go down to my page. I'm just going to do this way. I'm going to hit return. Then I'm going to add the columns block above it by hitting /columns. Add the columns block. I think we've got 2 equal columns. They look like equal columns to me. So I'm going to choose 50-50. And then in this left-hand column, you can actually let's just copy and paste that in there. Add the heading block and paste that in. Let's delete that block quickly because we don't need that one anymore. And I'm going to change the text color to white. And then we're going to grab this bit of text under here. Simply paste that underneath. Just hit return and paste it. And we're going to make that text white as well. And over here on the right, we've just got these 4 items with these little separators in between each one. So we're going to start by, let's try adding a separator above as the first thing. We're going to choose the wide width. Can we color them? Yeah, cool, we can color it as well. That's close enough. Then under that, we want to have, let's click here, click here, click here. There's my separator. I'm going to go insert after. Sometimes it's easier to work in the list view, you'll find, than trying to click around in here. It's a more precise way of working. That just says learn with WordPress. Now, I'm not going to be able to do that snazzy little arrow today, I don't think. I can't quite see how I could do that easily, so I'm not going to do that bit. Then I'm going to add a separator underneath. I'm just going to duplicate this one actually and just drag it underneath like so. I'll try to anyway. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all those. Let's see if this works. Let's just duplicate them. In fact, that's wrong, isn't it? Yeah, we want one line between them. So get rid of one of those. I'm just duplicating each time for speed. Those 2 by multi-selecting and clicking duplicate. So now we've got our 4 little things, and then I just need to change this text, which I'll do very quickly. And support, dig into code, and then it's meet local WordPress users. Cool, that looks pretty good to me. So let's update that and view the page. This is looking good. I'm happy with that. Looks great. This is their site. This is my site. I'm really happy with that. There's their site. There's my site. Obviously, we've got slight difference in styling. Right, underneath this, we have this photo. So let's save that photo. Actually, save cover box. So I'm just going to cheat by copying and pasting it. I don't really want to do that. I've added it in the wrong place, but that's okay. Let's just wait for that to upload because at least it will be in my media library then. And let's go down here and we're going to add it down here just as a simple image block to start with. I think that's all we need to do. There it is. And we're going to make that full width again, so it'll bleed to the full edge. Now we need to make that a group block as well. So I'm going to group that one and let's see if that has actually added some space between it. Yeah, so you see how we've got this little gap here. When you group it, it might do that. So what we're going to do on that group block is just make sure you've got the group block selected. Use your list view for this. And then we want to go to margin again. And you want to make sure that the top margin is 0, like so. And that just means it butts up. Don't worry too much if it's not previewing perfectly in the editor. Hopefully when we update and edit it, it should be perfectly aligned. Now, we've got this section underneath here, so I think this is pretty straightforward. This looks like a heading, and this, to get this alignment, I think probably the easiest way is to use a columns block within that underneath there. So I'm going to start by adding that heading block up here. So just copy and paste that in. Now this is a different color and we do have some padding around that. So I'm going to group this one as well. I think I'll group it. I'm going to add some padding to it. And I'm going to change the color of the text as well to blue. So we've got that, then we've got this text underneath with this button. And for that, we're going to use the columns block underneath. So we're just going to add the columns block and we're going to grab that bit of text. And I think I'm just going to use the 50-50 for this. Put some text in that side. And again, this text needs to be the same blue as that blue. So let's just go and nab that color. Select both of these and change the color on that. Oh, that's not quite right. Change the color on that. Looks a bit light to me actually, but there we go. And then underneath there, we've just got a buttons block. So let's go /buttons. And this buttons block says get involved. And the background color to that is, we've got this outline, so you can actually do that as well. We've got this outline option here. Now this probably won't preview properly, but if I set the background color, hopefully when we publish this, the styles will be applied. The styles are a little bit skew-whiffy in the editor itself, but oh no, we're not seeing that. Let's go and have another go at that. Click on the button, outline. Oh yeah, it's not the background color I want at all. It's the text color I want to change. So change the text color. Now again, you won't see this probably. There's a little thing with 2022 and the styles, but when we come here, you'll see we've got the nice button itself. Right, so that's not that close. I think what I'm going to do is change the group block width because I'm not happy with the width on that. So let's click the list view, click group, and let's go. Let's reset this. Not sure why it needs to be full width. Okay, so that's why I need to set that full width. And that should be much more like it now. There we go, that's much better. There's that. So I could have changed that actually to be slightly different. That columns block isn't quite right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that quickly to more like, which one? That one there I think is better. It's more accurate. So let's see if we can just drag these in. Copy that, paste that in there. Yep, that's fine. And then we're going to get rid of that columns block. That should be much closer to what we're after here. There we go, that's much better. We've got this nice overlapping effect, which I really like. And we've got a slightly different color actually, so let's just change the color up. Using ColorZilla again, there we go, there's the color. And let's just apply that to this heading. That's better. Also to that there, and this button as well, I think. Let's change the text color on that one, just so we've got the right colors. So this is my page, looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. And then we've got this section here, which is pretty straightforward. Come back here and we're going to start, as you probably guessed by now, by adding the group block. And within that, we're going to add our, let's have a look. Yeah, so we want to start by adding our columns in straight away here. So let's go here and let's add columns. And we want a thin first column. So probably 33, 36 is probably going to work for us. Let's add a heading block here. And we're going to group this. Oh, this is a group. What we're going to do is make this full width here. Okay, which is what we want. We've got a now we've got the right color, and then over on the right, all we're going to do is add the latest post block actually. Simple enough. Now you can style this as well. So we've got some other bits in here. So we've got, what else have we got? We've got author name, which is that one, I think. No, that's category, and we've got the date. So got the date. We don't actually have any categories on this site, so we're not really able to view those. The other thing that we could do here, actually that's probably okay. Actually, yeah, that's not okay. So we need to do our group block sizing again, as we'll be doing all the way through. So select group, and then the content we want to, for this example, we want 1000 pixels. That just sets the content width within this page template. And there we go. Now you can probably see this has got a slightly different color behind it. I add a background color to that one and set the margin at 0. That might work. So I'll go at that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now we've got our news page up and running. We probably want to add some padding in there. We've got no padding, so it's looking a little bit like it needs room to breathe. So I'm going to add 50 pixels of padding. There we go. Now this would look a lot better if I had more posts. All they've done actually at the bottom of that, within that column, is under the last post, this one here, they've added just a paragraph block, it looks like to me, and just put view all in there like that, and that will just appear at the bottom. I think that's all they've done, which looks logical to me. And then finally we've got this section down here, which is just another group block with a columns block. I'm not quite sure how they've done that arrow, so I'm not going to be able to do that snazzy arrow, but we'll just add that group block in. Now the way I'm going to do this one for speed is I'm just going to copy this existing one. I'm going to try and do it this way anyway. I'm going to copy this, copy block, and come down here and go insert after, and then I'm just going to paste that block in, because that has a lot of the stuff I actually want in here. And then I'm just going to change the heading to get started, and then underneath there I've just got some text, and then over on the right they've got the arrow, which I don't know how they've done it, and I don't have time now to work it out, but I'm just going to remove those. So let's start again. So that's the WordPress website, top section. That's my site, pretty close. We've got a few differences in terms of width and stuff, but that's probably the theme. But we're pretty close, right? This is the second section. This is the WordPress second section. This is my second section. Pretty good. I think I'm happy with that. There's WordPress, there's mine. WordPress, there's mine. WordPress, there's mine. Third section, that's the WordPress section. Actually, they've got a different background color. I haven't done that, but never mind. There's the third section. There's mine. There's WordPress. You see, it's not quite identical in terms of width and stuff. Not bad though. Fourth section here. There's the WordPress section. Here's my section. There's the fourth section there with the image. That's pretty much identical because that's just an image. Then we've got this section here. That's the, getting confused now, that's the WordPress one. That's my one. Not exactly the same, but not far off. Then we've obviously got this stuff down here, the community stuff with an image. That's the WordPress one. Theirs is nicer than mine. There's mine. I just need a bit more styling on the text. But we've got the button working. Then we've got the see what's new in WordPress. My section looks a little bit vacant because I don't have any posts on my site. But in terms of styling, we're not a million miles away at all. And then finally the get started section at the bottom. Again, my text is too small here and I don't have their fancy arrow. But all in all, for 20 minutes work or whatever that was, we get pretty close. So I'm off to cut a hedge now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that useful and there was some useful stuff in there for you. If you enjoyed this video, if you can hit the like button now, it would be amazing because it really does help spread the word of the channel. And also, as you may know by now, every time you do hit that like button, our cats get a little treat. So thanks again for watching. If you want to see more videos about WordPress and the block editor, hit that subscribe button now and you'll be notified every time I release a new one. Keep well, and I'll see you soon.